Hello, and welcome to episode 31 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abby, and I am your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. Logan, we'll start with you as usual. What did you do in Flesh and Blood this weekend?
I played 2 Armory events. Neither went really well. We did double draft Uprising on Saturday, though. We did a before the Armory draft and then an Armory draft. Before the Armory draft was just 8 people, pretty casual. I 3-0'd that one with Drumeye. Felt really good. It was funny because in the middle of the draft, like 8 people sitting around a table, middle of the draft, my phone is ringing. And it says Jordan Kennedy. Okay, interesting. So something must be going on. Answer it. He's like, hey, my niece keeps dumping out these cards. And then like she'll go and start picking them up and then she'll dump them out again. So $10 says she dumps them out again before she picks them up. I'm like, I'm sight unseen here. Put them on speakerphone so everybody can hear. I'm like, I'm sight unseen here. Can I get an over under? 2.5. Like, I'm snapping the under off. He's like, you got the under for $10? I'm like, I've got the under for $10. Like 10 minutes later, I get a PayPal notification that you've got money, and it's just $10 from Jordan. It just says, God damn it. So yet again, victory was mine. He's 0 for 3. He's 0 for 3 in the most recent spate of betting on things that I have no idea what I'm betting on when I start betting on it.
Hold on. Before you continue, I have a question that I just need some clarification on here. You were in the middle of a draft.
Uh-huh.
And you answered the phone.
I sure did.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yes.
Just want to understand we're on the same page here.
Yep. We were in pack 2. And I answered that. Not gonna leave that one hanging. When one of the power trio calls me, because phone calls are obsolete anymore. Like they're passé at best. They're used only in the case of emergencies or gambling. So either something bad has happened or there's money to be made. So I picked up the phone. That seems like the right thing to do.
Like either I have a money-making opportunity for Logan, or like I'm dead and like, hey, the show is going to be on hiatus. You know, like there's very little wiggle room.
Yeah, there's not a lot there. But that draft went well, and then the Armory draft did not go well. I went against my own advice and made some what I would call small enough errors at the table to put myself in a bad spot when I could have had some pivot points, or I could have had a better type of deck. I could have been playing a very red line and chain linky version of Dromai, and instead I was trying to just send a hard signal to my left that I was in Illusionist. But the 2 players to my right were also an Illusionist.
Oh,
so it hurt. I got fed really well in pack 2. But pack 3 was, again, kind of a horrible experience. And then on the Thursday, Army was just Blitz. We were just trying to fill it out before we had Uprising legal stuff. And I just defaulted back to playing Kasai. I think I went 2-2, 3-2, whatever it was. I was not playing my best. Flesh and Blood by any stretch of the imagination, kind of just not paying attention half the time. And was losing because of my inattentiveness and also because my opponents were good. So, those things will happen. Died to Reckless Swing. Let's put it that way. I have gotten very good at playing around Reckless Swing, and I just didn't. So, that was my week in Flesh and Blood. Jordan? Oh, wait, one more thing. Uprising is complete. We are set complete.
Good.
Set complete. Yep. Got the Fabled yesterday, along with the 2 Majestics I'm missing. A friend of the show, Sleepy Jackal, the Jackal, however you want to refer to him, is executing a trade. So the Shuko is on its way, and I will be 100% at that point. So just have Marvels left. Did you know there's a cold foil Helios meter?
Mm-hmm. I've seen.
I don't know why you would say that to me as a cube guy.
So you do know.
Damn it! Now I do. I still think I'm just gonna go the promo route, but those are clean. Those probably are clean.
They're clean as hell.
But they have a hard back too.
They're not double sided. Yeah, they're not double sided. So I ended up. Some guy was like one of the guys was trading me the Fabled. Friend of the locals. Zach was trading me, and he was cleaning me out of some of my extra legendaries, of which I had a plethora. And he's like, so do these, and then I'll trade you the Fabled, and I'll throw in the cold foil Helios meter. And I'm like, sure. I didn't even know that existed until like 9 minutes ago. So sounds great. As I now have to shift my binder around because the spot that would go in the binder is not blank. It has something in it because I didn't think there was such thing as a cold foil Helios meter, but there is.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So it looks really nice. It's really clean. You probably need one for your cube, and I apologize for your wallet. Jordan, what else did you do?
You know, what did we do this week? We cracked a lot of Flesh and Blood. We cracked a lot of Uprising. We have not sorted, but based on the preliminary, or we're not done sorting. Based on the preliminary sorting, we are probably set complete. Sans the Fabled. And this is just based off of we still have 4 boxes to.
Oh, okay. I would say we have a couple of legendaries we don't have yet, but we do have more products.
Yeah, I would say based off of we still have a case to go. And we are 1 or 2 legendary short, I think.
Which ones are you missing? Do you know?
The Draconic
Furnace.
Chess Piece, and then the wizard robe.
Gotcha. Yeah, I still have an extra flame scale furnace, and I still have an extra crown. So
I might need to trade one off of you or buy one off of you based on how the last case goes. But
again, it's what you need's got what you need. So got it covered, baby.
Otherwise,
we played.
We played. We did a 2-person Uprising draft yesterday. Actually, Abby and I.
It was awful.
Like a Winston draft.
Okay.
Yeah. Where you lay for those that don't know, you take like 6 booster packs, shuffle them up. You put 3 1-card piles to the right of the stack. Player looks at the first stack. They can decide to like take that card or add a card, and then look at the second stack. And they do that all the way through all the stacks. If they ultimately don't want any of the 3 stacks, they draw a card at random. It does not work in Flesh and Blood.
I would imagine not, but we need to teach people. We kind of need to teach people point drafting. I think that might work in Flesh and Blood.
I can see that
because it's not as random.
Yeah, so. I think if you want a Winston draft, you need to add probably another 3 packs per person. Just because, and then at that point you might as well just do sealed because at least like there's a real skill to develop. We like my wizard deck ended with like 19 literal playables. So you know, it wasn't really that fun to be honest. Abby ended up with like 27, so I gave her like some cards from my pool to just like play a game, you know.
Sure.
You and I, along with Dagan, were on instant speed this week.
Oh, we were. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was this week. That was fun. So check that out if you haven't already. We talked about the Realms 15K weekend with him and the importance of community events. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah,
we talk a lot of shit about Dagan.
We do. Yeah, if you want to hear us calling Dagan a silly goose, you should.
Many times.
There, yeah. But also, we like really like we talk a lot of shit about Dagan on this show, but we also on Matt's were like Dagan is clearly the best of us, and like we must protect Dagan at all costs.
Correct, you know? Because we like to win on occasion, and we need him for that to be a reality.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That was it for me. Didn't play any sanctioned. Ab, what about you?
I also did not play any sanctioned. The coolest part was, so Jordan and I were at my with my family this weekend. So my niece was there. She's like 2.5.
Made me $10, that niece.
That's right. So she does not stop. Basically, from the second she wakes up until her nap, and then when she wakes up from her nap until she goes to bed, it is like
I'm so tired.
Non-stop, just constant running, screaming. It's a lot. So Jordan and I, we go to the local game store with my brother, Game Room in Toledo, if anybody's familiar. That's one my brother frequents. So we get a box because we're like, well, you know, we'll just get a box and do whatever. So we get home, and this child who never, ever wants to sit down comes right up to the table, gets in her booster seat, and wants to crack packs with us. And it was awesome.
That's fantastic.
So we would open them for her, and then we would let her rip the rest of the paper, and then we would go through and make sure that there wasn't anything important that we wanted, and then we would let her play with the cards, and she has them all over the house. She would throw them. She would put them in a bucket and dump them out. Not enough times, but she would do that. So that was quite entertaining to watch her just get real excited about it. So
That's fantastic. I remember having a child of that age around, and I was in my 20s, and it would exhaust me in my 20s. I don't even want to think about what it would do to me in my 40s.
mm-hmm.
Like, my knee already hurt. I went and played 18 holes of golf on Friday, and I had taken a month, and because it was busy as hell, right? Like Vegas and then Columbus and everything in between, and I just didn't have time to get to a golf course. And on random days I could play, it was raining or something, or it was a billion degrees and windy and not conducive to a fun round of golf. And so I just didn't play for a month. And so I went and played 18 holes, and I had faded out of shape by then of being able to swing a golf club without intense amounts of pain. So I kind of just didn't want to wake up yesterday, quite honestly. Hashtag Fab Fitness Challenge, I guess. But we did some severe damage to, not damage, we reminded ourselves that we are a 40-year-old human being, and doing any kind of exertion like that without the proper amount of training and warm up is kind of terrifying. So don't do that.
That's important.
Yeah, that's a safety tip. That is keeping our listeners and viewers and community informed about the perils of growing old and trying to do shit.
Mm-hmm. Don't do it. It's a trap. Except for in July, because it's a Fab Fitness Challenge.
Right. So then do it in July. Month. Yeah, do it this month. And then don't fill out the scientific method of fuck around and find out for the rest of the months, because I fucked around and I found out. So that it was about 3 p.m. today that I felt human again. So
just wake up and you're like, oh, moving hurts.
Yeah, moving seems bad. Let's reevaluate.
Should we describe the Fab Fitness Challenge for people that might not have heard about it? Yeah. So Arsenal Pass is doing a hashtag Fab Fitness Challenge from July 1st to July 31st, where basically it's just kind of a communal suffering for everybody to get involved and focus on a goal for your health. The goals range from person to person. Some people are trying to quit smoking. Some people are trying to drink less soda. Some people are trying to meditate once a day. And, so the goals are vary per person. There's no real competition or anything, and it's very much just a vibe. And it's on Twitter. You can find it with the hashtag Fab Fitness Challenge. And I think all three of us are participating in some form or fashion. I'm calorie counting and doing a vlog on Twitter every day. But whether or not you post your goals or share them or whatever, you should feel like there's people that are supporting you. And if you want to chat in our Discord, there's a channel for it right now, so you can hop in there. But so if you ever see somebody on Twitter, a fab person posting a workout, they're not just completely rebranding. It's part of this this Fab Fitness Challenge.
There's some people in Flesh and Blood that is still that is just their brand. So
being swole,
we have receipts on swole humans that play Flesh and Blood, because there's one giant man named Dalen who is I would qualify him as swole.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess professional athlete constitutes
right. You kind of have to have in some modicum of shape, and that shape is gargantuan and
a brick house,
and brick house, yeah. So
yeah.
That's right. So, if you haven't started yet, you can start now. And if you want to talk about it, get support, whatever you feel. Discord, Twitter, people have all kinds of updates out there. So,
and I do realize that I have that I'm talking about this as I drink my show beers, and the irony is not lost on me. So I don't need it brought up to me. I don't need anybody calling me out on it. I get it. It's not part of my goal. So the high life will still be drank as I record this show.
Hey, that's
there you go.
Yeah, that's the cool thing too, is everybody has different goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's dope.
All right, let's move on to news this week. First thing, Uprising is officially out. in the US for most people. We've had a couple people in the Discord whose store did not get their stuff yet. So super sorry if that is you. But the majority of the people now can get their product here in the US.
Yeah, it seems like it's ranged from either being really good for stores and they got a pretty decent amount of product enough to sell through, or really bad, right?
Yeah.
Like 0 to 2 cases. One we have, we have 2 local game stores here that support Flesh and Blood, and one of them being Mayhem Comics and Games, and they got a few cases in, a decent amount. So like something that, okay, yep, this makes sense. And then the other store, Gamecast Lankany, shouts out to the crew at Gamecast Lankany. Tremendous place to play Flesh and Blood, by the way. Both of them are. They got 2. And that's enough to run some drafts. And that's it. So they have no product to sell because the community would rather draft it. And that sucks for them. It's pretty horrible. And then I see stores that are getting 10 cases, 20 cases, whatever. And it's kind of a feel bad. Then you're right. We've seen people in our Discord there's like, got 0. Which that's the ultimate feel bad.
It's tough too, because some stores are getting screwed with like Road to Nationals being limited, and they only got enough to like hold their like 3 drafts that they need to run. Mm-hmm. So they either can't sell it or they can't hold draft armories or like whatever, because like they only got their like cases to support 2 32-player drafts and a top 8 draft. So that's pretty tough, man. I feel bad for those stores. Fortunately, in the Columbus area, it sounds like the main store here, Beyond the Board, got their allotment. The Realm obviously got all theirs because they were doing the special event. So we haven't been hit by it, but like that's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it really is. And I do, because like if you think about it, like running those Road to National events, those aren't your regulars, right? Like those are people, not necessarily your regulars, I should say. Those are people from out of town and whatever, which is still fine. Yep. But you ultimately, as a game store, want to be able to serve your regulars the things that they need to keep them being regulars, right? And if they have to go somewhere else for product, you start to that relationship slips a little. And if it slips too far, they just then keep going to somewhere else, whether that be online or traveling to a different retailer, because then they have confidence that they can get what they need. And that's really harmful. So I do feel for those stores that are being pinched right now, especially if they're sitting on cases and they're like, I can't sell these until I know I have more coming to supplement this draft. That's just a terrible feeling.
Yeah, I don't envy the LGSs in this position. You got pushed off a week, and now you're kind of in this pinch spot too. But
yeah,
hopefully this is the last time. I don't see U.S. supply chain issues getting any better, unfortunately. Abby's the expert in that world, but
that's a hard head shake.
Literally not anytime soon.
But
yeah, a year, 2.
This way. Yeah, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Economy's got to crash first, and then maybe it'll stabilize.
Great.
Confident.
What I want to hear. Yeah. I'm still glad that I'm nowhere near retirement age, although by the time I'm retirement age won't be a thing, so it really doesn't matter.
Laugh at the man that thinks he won't work till he dies.
I'm the purely dystopian age. As the tail end of Gen X, we are the never retire generation. Like, unless you had money early and played the market well, you are not retiring probably ever. Full stop. So yeah, it's not a great mindset. It's not a great understanding of your place in life, but c'est la vie, I guess. We're all in it together for the moment.
Yay.
Yay.
Hashtag Kickagart's Corner.
Yay, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. European History Pack number 1 is officially out. The French Eye of Aethidia looks awesome. I saw a couple pictures on Twitter. Made me want one.
Yeah. Untensinken is what we're going for, is a little sink below in German as well. I did chase down 2 boxes of German Black Label. And I'm trying to debate, like, my market mind, my insect brain that has been playing TCG markets for a long time is like, you should hold these. These are not a print to demand thing from what you understand. These are a special thing. So don't pop these. And then my huge degen brain is, pop them, you
Yeah,
stupid
monkey brain kicks in.
Yeah,
fuck.
1000%.
I see booster, I crack. Yeah,
I crack boosty. So these are probably getting cracked. Let's be real fair here. But I guess my dream is to like pop a German Arcanite shard, or because the translations are so bad, Bravo's Showstoppers translation is something ungodly awful, if I remember right.
Oh no.
And so I want a Marvel of that.
Yeah, it's so bad that James White wrote an apology article on the Mothership. Like, literally was like, I am so sorry. Cards don't do what they should do written in the language, right? Like, as translated. Like, they're translated incorrectly. Just flat out, cards don't function the same way. Which, by the way, if anybody's curious, in the event of a dispute between like a foreign card and an English card, the English card's text is like the rule text. But like if these cards apply to you, if they're in their LGS stream, your opponent can't use like a card relying on a bad translation. The English printed text is what commands the day.
Yeah, and then some of them are just so like comically bad. Like, this is not the actual text of the card or anything, but it's something similar to Bravo Showstopper translates into Bravo Mans who penis stop traffic or some shit. And it's just like, what the actual fuck are we doing here? Yeah. I do need this in cold foil full art though, because that is important to me. So I'm not far off, by the way.
You're not. It's like they're all bad. It reminds me of so my law school diploma had 2 typos in it, and they made us like come back in and like get fixed ones. But the one that I have hung up on my wall right now has the typos in it.
Of course you do. Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah, right. Like people were like, "Hey, I don't want this typoed thing on my wall." I was like, "I
absolutely do.
I want typos.
I want to point to people and say, "This is the institution that decided I can practice law."
Yeah, right.
Isn't this fucking awesome?
Me. Yeah, yeah. Don't hire me. These people can't spell month. Yeah.
Like month. It's a 5-letter word.
Yeah. Oh, it's garbage. You think they use a template from year to year? Like, why are you reinventing this every year?
How the fuck do you misspell month?
Oh, there was a U. There's a U.
Mount.
Yeah, I don't know if like
it's like Mount
British
with an
person
H
got a hold of it or what. But yeah.
Canadian got it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then Road to Nationals is officially kicked off.
Yeah, exciting. Yes, it has. I've seen
any.
I will be so probably the heart. Yes, I will be playing in some. I'm hoping that I don't need more than 1 or 2 bullets to get there, but so I think we're going to play in Minnesota next weekend, but that's not a guarantee as of yet. And then the weekend of the 16th, I think we're playing in Omaha. Well, I know that some of us will play in Omaha. And then the 23rd is local. So definitely play the local. Regardless if I qualified or not already, I would play the local. But they're all draft. The closest CC one is 3 hours away, I think. And that's probably just not worth it. But time will tell. Like, if I feel really comfortable or confident with a deck, maybe I'll go in and try to hit up a CC one, but I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of spicy CC decks out there, though. Staring at Hayden Dale's Viserai deck is Belittle, Minnowism, Viserai. You know what? That makes a certain amount of sense.
Package is just good.
Yep. And sometimes you just flip those as the cards you flip off Sonata. And that feels great. So I think that that's a good deck a good starting point. I still think that Phi is very good. I know that there's been a lot of arguments in the Twitter sphere over what constitutes good and bad in CC decks right now. A lot of people screaming about Phi being tier 1. A lot of people, talking about how Briar just wipes the floor with everything. A lot of people saying that Prism is just still the best thing you can be doing, and Dalen Max says that Icelander's good. So that's the entirety of Twitter right now. And there's just no consensus data. There's no way to know who's right and who's wrong. So it's kind of who you trust. But I think that we've got still a ton of time for this entire metagame to develop. That's the beautiful part of a Flesh and Blood not having an online client, is that the hive mind doesn't get a hold of things and solve a format in 1 week.
Right. Right. I think there's also, fortunately, a nice lack of CC Road to Nationals events. So there's not even going to be a reliable amount of data from that end. We might not know until PT2. We might not know where we look until after Lille.
I definitely am happy that the majority of them around us are draft. I want that. Yeah.
I don't want to test a lot of classic constructed right now. And everybody that's in my local community just laughed because they know I don't test anyway. But
but I do want to draft.
I do want to draft. Like come to my house and bring a box. I will go to your house and bring a box. I want to draft with you. Draft. Please draft my cube. God damn it. Please draft my cube. It's tough to be a cube owner right now, actually, because we all just want to draft Uprising. So it's really hard to get
great draft together. Format.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Welcome to Wraith is definitely better. Don't get me wrong. It's a 2-beer show, by the way, everybody, folks. I think Welcome to Wraith is better, but Uprising is very good, and it surpasses a lot of great Magic draft formats for me.
It plays up to them.
Yeah, right. So I think we talked about this before, where in my draft power rankings combining Flesh and Blood and Magic, Welcome to Wraith is probably pack one, pick one draft formats across both games. Uprising is also competing for among very good draft formats.
That's interesting. I think it's gun to my head. Well, we're in America, so there's always one there.
Yeah. Don't have a choice about that part.
Don't have a choice. Probably Invasion, Plane Shift, Apocalypse.
Ravnica and Return to
Ravnica. Probably Time Spiral before Ravnica, which is a little bit of a. I think a lot of people hear that and go "What the fuck are you thinking?" But you probably didn't draft Time Spiral. Although Time Spiral was one of those unique ones where the sealed was as good as the draft. Then probably Ravnica, Return to Ravnica. I think that I'd actually put Uprising after. I'd probably put Uprising after Ravnica and put WTR after Uprising. But we're early, so that obviously I could just be okay, well, Uprising homogenizes too fast and it's no longer good.
Sure.
So it's early. WTR does not really have that problem. Theoretically, in WTR, you can win with any hero, but that's also now the same for Tails. Tails has crawled up with the Briar nerf quite considerably in my esteem. So
I haven't done any Tails drafts since they've nerfed Briar.
It is night and day. When block 4 is the best they're going to do, they can't just full block a dominated arrow or a dominated attack out of Oldham and with one card. So it changes a lot. Yeah, so I'm thinking I don't think that we found a draft format yet for me in Flesh and Blood that surpasses the best of the Magic formats, but I know that also the Magic formats I'm talking about predate a lot of players, and they've never drafted them.
I have not drafted most of the ones you said.
Yeah, because IPA draft is bonkers good. And the thing about Flesh and Blood that just always will have a distinct advantage over Magic is the best drafts exist when you draft decks. You don't draft good stuff. When you have to have a synergy and a solid plan rather than just pick the best card in every pack every time. So and that is the genesis and the essence of Flesh and Blood draft. So it's really hard to have bad Flesh and Blood draft when they've just basically distilled draft to the best part of drafting, which is building a cohesive deck.
Yeah, and I think that Flesh and Blood is the game that can do that. It's just a matter of where we're at. So, yeah, I think I agree with you. Ultimately, I guess is where I come down. I am excited to draft. Like you said, I think you said something really interesting, that this is really early in Uprising's life cycle, and ask me at the end of Road to National season how I feel about it, and does it become homogenized too quickly? Does it get solved too quickly? Does it become boring by the end of the national season? I could see that. also because of the way that Flesh and Blood released draftable sets, I could very well see a world where we're kind of just burnt out on it because we're going to draft this until November.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I could very well see a world where who cares about this by November? It's much like Tails, where Tails was a good draft early, and then people were like, "Yeah, okay, but we've drafted this 1,000 times."
Yeah, we all know to draft Briar now.
Right.
But I think that, again, the thing that gets slept on in there is, and I really encourage people that wound up disliking Tails draft, that haven't drafted it since the nerf, to go back and redraft it. It is a much more interesting format with Briar being nerfed.
Gotcha.
Yep. All right, and then we have a content creator fantasy draft.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. So
we do.
This is pretty cool, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm going to talk about it because I'm happy about it. But we are hosting, Flesh and Pod is hosting a bunch of other content creators to do a Pro Tour draft. And what that means is that 9 total content creators, 2 of which are Logan and Abby, by the way, are going to fantasy football style draft Pro Tour competitors playing in Lille. And so you can have a team that consists of like Michael Fang, Hayden Dale, Matt Coles, Dagan White, right? And your team gains points based on how well they do at the Pro Tour, and the team with the most points wins. The cool thing that we're doing is instead of like people that already make stuff and already have a bunch of promos and access to a community passing prizes back and forth, we're getting like people that consume content involved, and you can go online and sign up to be a backer, and you'll be assigned to a content creator. And if your content creator wins, you will win prizes from the other 8. So the link to join will be in the show notes. But
it costs
please go
$0.
It costs $0. Yeah, it's free. You might as well just do it.
Yeah,
because there's a 1 in 9 chance that you'll win. So
you should definitely be supporting a Flesh and Pod player, though, because the other degens don't need the help as much. Who are the degens, Jordan? Will you please list them? Name and shame.
Name and shame these degens.
Oh, so love this.
The two not degens are Abby and Logan from Flesh and Pod.
Well, I mean, we're lovable degens.
Yeah, our degens, right? Mm-hmm. Team Flesh and Pod degens. Flake from the Instant Speed podcast, also from Channel Fireball, commentating teams. The voice of Flesh and Pod or Flesh and Blood for a lot of things. Elaine from the Pitch Perfect podcast. She's also a cosplay extraordinaire. You probably know her as Icelander. Az from the Living Legends podcast. Also the man that did a shoey on Twitter.
He did a shoey on Twitter.
Yeah,
he's a fucking legend. Like he's a degen as hell, but he's a fucking legend.
Yeah, he's a legend. He is also currently leading the back
because he's a fucking legend.
Yeah, Tommy from Fresh and Buds, another legend in his own right.
Yes.
If you want to roll with The Rock, you can go with Tommy from Fresh and Buds,
or a man who does not believe in shampooing his hair, but uses a ridiculous amount of pomade to make sure that coif stays tight.
That's the most New Jersey shit I've ever heard. What the hell? Oh
it sure God. Is.
Surprised he doesn't do his hair with blue cheese every day.
He might. I only had that a few days in a room with him. I really didn't pay that close of attention.
Keith from the Realm Gaming Network is one of the teams.
Keith's Case.
Keith from Keith's Case fame. There's also Carolina. She is the cosplay. You would know her as Exude Confidence from Pro Tour New Jersey.
First winner of a Taylor card.
Yeah, yep. So she's a banger in her own right.
Oh boy.
Makes a strong drink.
Also domes herself on concrete when trying to do deadfalls, and
terrifying.
Yeah, just not great.
And then Dalen, the youths are crazy.
They're fucking nuts.
And then Dalen Mack from the Tampa Bay Bandits at Dalen Mack on Twitter.
I think it's gonna be formally of the Tampa Bay Bandits soon, but yes.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But so just as to be clear, when you go to sign up on the forum, it'll ask you who your favorite content creator of the 9 is. That doesn't guarantee you a slot on their team. The teams are assigned randomly to even it out because you have degens like Flake and Az that are leading the show by a billion. So we want everybody to kind of share the burden of distributing prizes equally. But go on there and vote for Logan and Abby.
Yeah.
Do it up.
The votes
And
don't matter, but for pride, and there's a lot of pride.
Yeah, it's very much like whose line is it anyway? Like we're all gonna watch the show regardless. It'll be a fun contest. But like we do like to brag.
Yeah, and if you're a fapper and you already
She said it. She said the line. She said the line.
This is where we're at, folks. And if you're a fapper and you already went and voted for someone that's not Logan and I, why?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
See?
Well,
yeah.
That's all.
I know how many people listen to our show every week, and I know how many people haven't voted for Logan and Abby. So I can do the math, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Anyway, come sign up, put us as your favorite, and have a good chance to win some free stuff.
Yeah, the free stuff is coming from a wide array of people who have a bunch of cool shit. So you might as well hop in there, try to win some of the cool shit that we have laying on our desks and around our houses due to the fact that we do this gig. It's not really a gig for us, but for some it is, and they definitely can fill up the cool shit mobile pretty quickly.
That's right. All right, we have 2 listener questions this week. The first one is from Alan. What D&D alignment is each fab hero? This week we're on Monarch.
Monarch.
Who wants to start?
I feel like these ones are pretty cut and dry, to be completely honest, because the idea of Monarch, the set,
is light versus dark.
Yeah,
you have 2 lawful good heroes and then 2 evil heroes.
Yeah, but okay, so is Prism, because Prism's the librarian, and Bolton is a cop. Let's just call it what it is. Bolton's a cop. So Bolton being lawful good, I'm good with. Is that 100% with Prism, or is it more of a neutral good, will bend the rules at times type of thing?
That's interesting. Maybe it's I feel like the idea of being a light character is definitely good. So I'm with you there. It's funny because I don't know the lore obviously, but I have a hard time envisioning Prism ever being a confrontational either way. But maybe lawful is not the correct approach.
100% on Bolton being lawful. He's very paladin-y. So
yeah, he's literally like the captain of the guard or some shit, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he's a cop. Yeah. Prism, I don't know. That's much different to me. I think that I could see Prism being a neutral good, probably not a chaotic good, but maybe a neutral good.
Okay, I'd vote. That's fine. I think you're right that dedication to knowledge kind of thing would lend oneself towards being good, but not necessarily adhering to any particular set of rules because you've exposed yourself to so many. I can find that.
Not specifically dogmatic,
Sure.
Sure. Which is funny because I think that Chain is specifically dogmatic and is chaotic evil.
Yeah.
So straight up.
And I kind of on the same page for Levia too, because brutes are inherently just not chaos. Tied to any if it feels good, we're doing it kind of deal, So
do you know her backstory?
No. I don't. I've been curious. I haven't dug it up.
I learned this an hour ago, but if you go onto the heroes page and you click on them, it gives a little overview of the hero, which would have been great when we were doing this the past 2 weeks, but it's fine. I figured it out now. It literally starts off, Levia was born into extreme poverty. Her mother forced to sell both herself and her child into the service of an estate.
Oh. So, okay.
Yep.
So she began life in slavery.
Uh-huh.
And I'm assuming there was a bit of a chip on her shoulder type of thing that she decided to pray to a demon god and break herself free of her chains?
No, so her...
Oh, I tried.
Her mom told her to leave the Barthmonts, I think is how you say these, wherever she was sold to. But she stayed, and then one night the lady of the house was like into dark stuff, and Levia saw it, and then
She's like, oh, I'll fuck with that.
basically she like recreated the lady's ritual. And
But was it under the auspice as a way to break her chains and become free?
I don't know now.
Or was it just like recreational? Like I saw this.
Yeah, because like there are two reasons to go hotbox with the devil. One is because you want a hotbox, and the second one is if you hotbox with the devil, maybe you can get a deal and get out of some shit.
She wanted to get power to take back control. Is what it says.
Breaking her chains. Okay.
Yep.
So she's hotboxing with the devil in order for the devil to do some dirty. Gotcha. So she sold her guitar at the sold her soul at the crossroads to be able to play her guitar. And then we got turned into a motherfucking demon brute for her troubles.
Yeah.
That doesn't
It ends with her newfound power, Levia could finally take charge of her own fate, determined to never again let anyone take control of her.
It just says chaotic neutral to me, right?
The evil starts to fade away.
Like, yeah, definitely with that backdrop, like it's very much like a human being of just like, I need to look out for number one, and I'm not going to hurt people that I don't have to, but like I'm also like not going to take the backseat to like other people either. I think chaotic neutral is a good vote.
I think none of us are surprised that Levia wants to step on people, though. Shadow Mommy wears heels, so I think that's important to note. But that's I think the most interesting backstory that we have so far.
It's the only backstory I know, so I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, outside, honestly, Kasai's backstory is probably my favorite, but we'll get to that when we get to Crucible. We didn't do Crucible.
I think Crucible's after Monarch, right?
Crucible's before Monarch.
Oh, okay. We'll do Crucible next week. It's listed in this order on the page.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And then question number 2 is from Teague, and it's: you are meeting a complete stranger, and you are allowed to hold up one Flesh and Blood card as a first impression for your personality. Which card is it? I have mine. I'm prepared.
Go ahead.
Then be prepared.
That's right. So mine is Rejuvenate from Tales.
It's a really, really cool art.
It is. The art seems very Disney to me, and then it has a bunch of animals, which is
kind of your thing.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
I am currently scrolling through FabDB. And,
do you need me to go?
Yeah, please do.
All right. I'm pretty sure it's This Round's on Me.
Okay.
Just as a very obvious choice, because 9 times out of 10, This Round's on me. We're going to go out. We're going to have some drinks. We're going to have some talks. We're going to have some times. And at the end of it, hopefully we're all still friends and maybe make a couple of new ones. So that's kind of how I approach life. And if I was like, if you saw me in the wild and you're like, hold up a card and tell me how you are, I would hold up that card and people would be like, so where are we drinking at? I would say over here. Like, that's just what we're doing. Otherwise, outside of that, it's probably something like Burn Away, which I just want to set everything on fire because humanity's too sick to survive.
That much is very true.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm either, geez, this is actually pretty tough. One of the first ones that I saw that I was like, oh, I'm about this is like Coax a Commotion. I am down for chaos. I am also, you know, it's Gambler's Gloves. I just want to roll bones.
I think it's either Gambler's Gloves or Go Bananas. I think that's got to be, that's got to be you, where it's just like pure chaos.
I am down to just like let's just have a good time and we'll figure this out tomorrow. But I think Gambler's Gloves is it. Like, let's just roll bones and like in the finals match of the 15K, like I'm trying to like of the team tournament, Brendan and I's match is done, and I'm trying to get him to gamble with me on like dice rolls for money. Like, and he's like, I don't have any cash. I was like, dude, brother, I have Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of it. You don't need to be scared about being cashless.
Nope, sure don't.
But
We take all kinds of payments, sir.
yeah, dude. If you got it, I'll find a way to get it. Don't worry about it. Like, but no, yeah, I think Gambler's gloves for me.
That makes total sense. I mean, I love Rolling Bones, and I can get behind that. I think that, and that kind of just sums it up, right? Like, I'm doing this round's on me, and you're on the Gambler's gloves, and Abby's on Rejuvenate. So like, we're in a bar, you're making dumb fucking bets with me, and I'm laughing and snapping them up, and Abby's there to keep us alive.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So this all makes sense. Like, this
That's
all
right.
tracks, and I think that we covered it pretty well. Is there anybody that we want to assign a card to?
Oh, interesting.
Flake already has Flake out. We can't. There's nothing that makes more
Right.
sense for him.
Well, I was gonna like go the easy route of like Elaine and Carolina get Taylor, but that's
Right.
cheating.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for this.
I wasn't prepared
Well,
for
no
this.
one is.
Yeah, interesting. 3 of a kind can go to Dagon.
I was giving Dagon Bonehead Barrier, but
that was pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
The one brain cell doing extra work.
Skull Crushers goes to Dalen Mack.
Yeah.
Can you give Big Shimmers a brute card?
Oh yeah, dude, he's like pounding this guy into the ground. That's his literal
It's
job.
also true. Like,
It's his literal employment. Yeah,
it is something that he does.
We also had another question come in the Discord app while we were recording. Do you mind if I just shoot
Oh,
it
we're
off?
live. We're live.
Boy.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to have it sit for a week. So Sleepy Jackal actually. So James White,
Friend of the
smashes
podcast.
big friend of the pod, smashes through your window. James White at 2 a.m. swinging down from his LSS branded helicopter and asks you to come up with a brand new class idea. Just a simple concept such as aura-centric, reaction-oriented, etc. So you don't need to like name it or like give it like the skin. Give me like the gameplay mechanic or like the general theme of this new class idea. What do you come up with? I would like a mill thing, like a mill, like a fatigue you easier plan. I think like a game could use a really casual, goofy win condition like that. I don't think it'd be good. Just like most games, it's not good. But I do think
it's never conducive to fun gameplay.
Yeah, like hey, banish your opponent's deck or put it in the graveyard or whatever.
But what if it's a self? Well, never mind. We already had that. I was thinking self mill can play out of the graveyard, but we just had chain, which is self mill in the banish zone. So whatever.
Well, so I think like the deck would be very weak at like the physical attacking part. So like if you had if you had an efficient weapon series like Kadachi's or something, you could outlast maybe the mill, because in this game mill is very on a unique basis that you don't die, right? So
I think I'd want a berserker. I think I'd want, and the premise would be can pay life for action points and cannot use generic armor.
Interesting.
So like you're trying to go hard, you're going as balls to the walls, and if you stumble one iota, you're just gonna die. So something that is out of it, because like there's a lot of setup in a lot of decks. Trying to remove the setup for a high enough cost that it doesn't break the game, so that turn one it matters even more for that deck. So something along those lines where you're paying a cost that is not recoupable. I mean, maybe even have it stable to the character that they can't gain life. And then they start with slightly higher life, but something along those lines where you're giving them a bunch of detriment to be able to just go harder for a shorter amount of time. Because if you don't win in the first 3 or 4 turns, it's over. Like you can't come back. Like the comeback mechanic is gone. I do find that to be interesting because the interplay of like lasting that long. Wow. Well, we're back in this podcast.
Oh no.
That lasting that long actually is interesting to me specifically. So I think something like that. Like that's where I'm going with it. Off the top of my head.
Is it me?
Yeah, Abigail, it's you.
A poison.
Oh god damn it.
Oh no. You just don't even know what you just said.
You can't speak that into the world.
That's what I would pick as a deck around, like a poison. thing.
I'll forgive her for she does not know.
She does
just
for the sweet summer child does not know what she has said.
So when you say this, when you say poison, do you mean like you would poison, like you'd give them like counters and it would affect their life total, or like would it be a separate mechanic that if they got like X poisons they would die? What do
Probably
you
like a counter. Like, okay, so this is my thought process. Since they are going this route of more permanent things in the game, then you
Okay.
could poison like a permanent. So
Okay.
like I put a poison on your thing and it
deals
5,
damage to you.
Yeah, for 5 rounds you take a damage or something like that.
So
Gotcha.
That's interesting. What if poisoning actually hampered the hero? Like
-1, I don't like give them an IP1.
Give an IP1. Well, that's a lot. Holy shit, that's a lot. Or something as simple as they get this hits, you become poisoned. You can't play more than 2 actions in a turn for your next turn, and then you become unpoisoned. I guess there are different ways to do it. Like, so the reason that Jordan and I had this visceral, awful reaction is that in Magic, there's a mechanic called poison, which you get 10 poison counters and you lose. And life totals start at 20, but if you only have to deal 10, it just halves the game. And so there were decks built around that mechanic that were just fucking miserable.
Yeah. It just changed the axis on which like the game operated. Like the creatures theoretically were weaker that dealt poison because like it counts as like 2. Every point you deal is like theoretically 2, but it just didn't work out that way.
No.
Like it was just anything. It fundamentally changed the axis on which the game operates, and that's like typically bad. So when I was like, how do you envision this? Like if I get 20 poison, do I die? Like I was like, oh no, I don't want that. Please stop. But like, safe
because
word,
it's degen shit.
But like,
yeah.
But like the idea of like, hey, I can maybe apply a bunch of poison to your permanents, or apply maybe like a explode your equipment after X amount of turns, or like Logan said, poison your hero. I can get behind that. That's kind of neat.
You know what made me think of it? Slay the Spire.
Oh, Slay the Spire.
Oh god, I love Slay the Spire.
It's so much fun.
If you haven't fucking played Slay the Spire, dear listener, get your shit together put in about 200 hours of Slay the Spire.
That's right.
And then come back.
It's so good.
It is so much fun. Okay, Logan drum kit update. Where are we at?
Oh, still have not ordered it.
Oh my god.
I don't have a spot for it. Like, quite honestly, like that my biggest hurdle here is where am I gonna fucking put it?
I don't know. That's not my problem.
I have like fire a roommate, which okay, but and then reclaim some space to have a drum kit again. So
All right, folks. Well, we have big news, and I'm sorry that you don't get any sort of excitement beforehand. I have followed up, but I unfortunately cannot make that happen. As you are hearing this, we have launched our Patreon. Yay!
Yes, we have. We are now accepting money if you want to give it to us, but there's no pressure for you to give it to us.
You will always be free to fap with us.
Exactly. Oh god. Okay.
Just as long as you don't finish before me.
Nope. That's enough of that. So it's patreon.com/fleshandpod. There are 3 tier levels. Correct?
4 tier. There are 4 tier levels.
There are 4 tier levels. Okay, so I only saw 3 when I looked at it earlier. So, Jordan, you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. I can do that for you. Let me pull it up for the radio. So basically, first things first, like we said, this will always be free to be a member of the fapping community. To like always, the show will never be gated behind a paywall. You'll always be able to get your normal Tuesday sauce for free from us in your. I didn't mean it like that either.
Yeah, you did.
We're stuck. You'll always be able to get this from us on Tuesdays for free in your whatever feed you currently consume it on, whether it's Podbean or Spreaker or whatever the hell.
Fucking Podbean.
But if you want to help out the show, if you want to say thanks, like we would appreciate it a lot. Purely just like if you want kind of thing. We have a variety of tiers to like kind of capture different situations and different levels of your willingness to do so. The first tier is the like thanks friend tier. It costs $2 a month, and it's kind of like the thanks for making the show, like the handshake version of Patreon. You pledge at this level and you get access to the Patreon only Discord channel where we'll share our show notes and solicit kind of like a little bit more, like, again, we're not going to gate our involvement in Discord, but this is just sort of a place for Patreons to kick back and hang out with Patreons. But again, like, you're not going to be missing anything out by not being in there. The next tier is the associate producer tier, $5 a month. You'll get everything that the thanks friend tier gets, as well as you'll hear your name listed as an associate producer at the end of the show, which is kind of neat. The next tier is the executive producer tier. Again, you'll get everything at the lower tiers, as well as you'll hear your name listed as an executive producer at the end of the show. You also receive a Flush and Pod gift bag from us, which will include like a handwritten thank you note, some FAP stickers, and a booster pack. Actually, we're gonna throw a little boosterino in each of the thank you things.
Those boosties can vary.
Yeah, just kind of on what we have on hand. Like, I actually have to go pick up a box specifically for this, and so it'll kind of be like you'll either get the kit from Logan or get the kit from us in Ohio, and it just depends on who you get it from and what you get, kind of thing. But it's kind of a little goodie bag. And you'll also, again, get your Patreon shout out at the end of the show, and you'll get access to the Discord channel specifically for Patreon members as well. The last tier is the Possum supporter. Again, you'll get access to everything at the end of the show that the other tiers got, including the gift bag. And if you subscribe for 3 months at this tier, you will get a Flesh and Pod playmat, a Flesh and Pod, Flesh and Blood playmat.
And maybe something else if we feel saucy. But
yeah, right.
There's always you have to remember that, like, so Jordan and I both dislike money. Yeah, and absurd. So we love gambling with it to generate more of it to then have more hatred. So as people who dislike money, sometimes we just like to increase the value of whatever we're doing. And you never know when that's going to happen. There is a chaos factor, as per always.
Yes. Like, and you could just like get your bag and be like, oh, I didn't expect anything. And then bang.
Here's something random.
Random. So if you haven't contributed to a Patreon before and you don't know what the hell that I'm even talking about, basically a way for you to support your favorite shows. So some shows give away a lot for their Patreon subscription. Some give away literally nothing for their Patreon subscription. We kind of wanted to meet somewhere in the middle and say, like, hey, we don't want to lot content behind those that like don't have the spare cash every month. Like, we want happiness for everyone.
Oh, God damn it.
And we wanted to really hold true to that. But at the same time, we wanted to give a little bit back.
The fapping is free. The sauce is extra. Okay. I did it.
All right.
Are you good? Are you good?
That's happening right now.
So it is currently live. Like, if you're hearing this, it is live. You are not the first Patreon. Unless your name is Sleepy Jackal. Shout out, bud. But the Discord channel doesn't exist yet. That's going to be made tonight or tomorrow. We're recording Sunday. So, but otherwise, like, everything is a go. So if you want to get your Flesh and Pod playmat, subscribe now, and then around October you'll get one. And that would be great. We have spent, a non-zero amount of money in the show, and it would be cool to like make that back. But at the same time, like, also, we didn't do this to make money, so like, whatever the fuck you want to do, man. Like, if you like, it's weird to ask for money, but we also had people asking to like give us money, and that's a weird thing to say no to. So
yeah, it's honestly, we never ever thought we would be doing this. We never thought that we'd have a Patreon. We never thought we'd have 31 episodes. So it's more of a, people have asked how they can support the show, and we've all just been like subscribe 5 stars. And they're like, no, how can we really support the show? And it's like, what are you trying to get at? Like, are we going to an hourly hotel? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And it was like, no, like a Patreon or something. And it's like, well, that's the same thing as an hourly hotel. And I guess we just could start one eventually. And we were asked, like by our listeners and by our community people, like, you should start one. That's where all this came from. So it came from our listeners, and we just, all right, fine, I guess.
And we will love you either way.
Always love you either way.
That's right.
Won't even be
1,000%.
disappointed in you.
Never.
Jordan might.
I am disappointed in a lot of things in life, but people that like Flesh and Pod, I will never be disappointed in.
There you go, folks.
Go.
All
So
right.
that's that. Oh, also, one last quick aside about this. Please give us feedback on these tiers. We ran it by some people we trust. But if you see something and you're like, hey, like I have a hard time justifying like the cost for what I'm getting for this thing, which they're priced pretty aggressively compared to what we're giving out for what it's worth. But like if you see something you're like, hey, actually you could charge more, or you consider this thing, like we're flexible. Like we very much, this is our first foray into this, and we want this to be a thing that people like. So if you're in the space that you would contribute, but there's a hang up for you, like bring that to us. No guarantees, obviously, but we'd like to hear about it.
Yeah.
1,000%. All right. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FleshPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or Podbean. Have we confirmed on Podbean?
I have not.
We
Okay.
are everywhere your podcast can be found. Yes. So
No, I
Well,
meant
I know
you-
we're
you were-
on
you.
Podbean. I don't know if we can be rated on Podbean. I don't know if they have a rating mechanism.
We'll find that out.
Does
and
Pocket
then
Cast?
Update you.
Pocket Cast does not have a rating system.
All right. Well,
Yeah. I assume that's because they're like most podcast apps only just like yoink RSS feeds from random hosts, and they don't want to deal with an algorithm, whereas like Spotify and like an Apple like can give you like an algorithm.
I've got a rash from how far in the weeds we are.
Yeah, that went really. I like to keep this part very clean, and that got very messy, and I don't like it.
Jesus Christ.
You can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can shoot us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AbbyD83. I just want everybody to know, first off, I tweeted every week in June.
Oh,
So there you go. We're working on it. We have officially made progress. So that's been big. I also won a Twitter giveaway on a James White Claw koozie from Jeffo. So thank you, Jeffo. I'm very excited about it. Jordan actually saw the tweet that I won before I had, and I was like half asleep, and he rolled over and woke me up and told me to look at Twitter. So very excited. Logan?
You can find me at Logan Peterson on Twitter. I am done spelling my name after episode 30 as promised. I'm tweeting mostly Flesh and Blood anymore. Honestly, I did do a longer tweet version about how I'm disappointed in America. But most of the time, it's going to be just Flesh and Blood and loving in this community and actually feeling valued and cared for. Then on Discord is the best way to get a hold of me, though. Messaging me on Discord. I do have DMs open to anybody that we share servers with. That I share servers with. So just reach out, say anything, hop in our Discord, have fun. We talk a lot about. I think the music channel's been blowing up today. The Grooves with Guinness channel has been quite alive today. A little bit of the Cooking with Reinar channel. So we have different channels for different things for different folks, and so please come in and hang out. It's a lot of fun, and you could have followed my quest in achieving a playset of Uprising, which we are done with. We are complete. So please hop in, please have fun. You never know what you're going to find. You never know who you're going to meet. Jordan?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter as always at I'm Jerman. Like Logan said, it's a lot of Flesh and Blood. It's a lot of sports. It's about to be music festival season for me, so like it's gonna be a lot of wubs on there.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's gonna get kind of nuts on there. But that's kind of what the vibe on Twitter is. I'm really digging just kind of connecting with people in the community right now. Fab Fitness Challenge, so I do a vlog every day. Feel free to check that out as well. But kind of just the usual, and that's not necessarily a good thing in this country right now. But yeah, but we'll get through it together.
That's right. Anything else?
I think
it's a land speed record for us.
Yeah, this is very short.
I speak now or forever hold your peace.
Whoa, we don't forever hold pieces around here.
Well, we're gonna start.
God.
We temporarily hold peace, but forever, nah. Hard pass.
All right, I'm gonna assume that's a no from everybody. So that is all we have for this week. We will talk to you next week. Bye.